Good morning and welcome to the Killik & Co Market Update. This week we're focusing on the G20 Summit, which started yesterday, and there are officially 8 topics which will be discussed by global leaders at this summit. And these are the global economy, trade and investment, innovation, environment and energy, employment, women's empowerment, development and health. So those are the 8 official topics, but really there are 3 particular areas that we want to hear discussions about. So the first one is the US-China trade war. We were told earlier this week that the US and China are 80% of the way towards agreeing some sort of trade deal. We know there is a face-to-face meeting between Donald Trump and President Xi at the G20 Summit on Saturday morning, so we're really waiting to hear what kind of comments come out following that. And we do believe that any positive or negative comments coming out of that meeting could move markets next week. So that's the first topic we want to hear about. The second one is Iran. So tensions between Iran, the US and the EU have risen in recent months as Donald Trump has pulled the US out of the Iran deal and he's reimposed sanctions on the country. Since then, Iran has been accused of attacking oil tankers and also of shooting down a US drone. So we're really hoping that global leaders will discuss the situation and hopefully put forward some non-violent resolutions. The third topic likely to be in the spotlight is climate change. So the US pulled itself out of the Paris Climate Accord last year, but Macron has been very anti this, and he has said that he will not be signing any agreements coming out of this G20 summit unless climate change is specifically mentioned. So that's one more topic that I think there will be quite a high level of focus on at this particular summit. And also this week, San Francisco has become the first US city to ban e-cigarettes or vaping, and this is definitely more bad news for the tobacco sector. Now, over the last few weeks in this market update, we've talked about some Nielsen data that showed that the number of smokers in the world is falling more quickly than expected. We've also looked at the poor levels of dividend cover within the tobacco sector. And this bad news about San Francisco, I think, will cast yet another negative cloud over the tobacco sector. I think a number of investors saw e-cigarettes or vaping as a potential bright point or even as a potential saviour for the tobacco sector. So this news that San Francisco is banning the practice is definitely very negative news indeed. And finally, we're always on the lookout for areas of the market that are growing. And more recently, we've been looking at the cosmetics industry in more detail. If you have a look at this chart here, you can see the annual level of growth for the global cosmetics industry. And you can see that it's been growing every year for the last 10 years, even in 2009, in the middle of the financial crisis. But more importantly, you can see that over the last 5 years, that rate of annual growth has been accelerating. The rate of growth came in at 5.5% in 2018, so a really decent level of growth, and perhaps more importantly, it's quite significantly ahead of the current level of growth of the global economy, which is currently thought to be about 3.3%. So at the moment, the cosmetics industry is very interesting to us, and I would recommend that you give us a call to hear more about our thoughts on investing in this industry. Now, moving on to the week ahead, it's a fairly important one for the car industry, and we have got results coming out from Volkswagen, Toyota, Fiat Chrysler, Nissan and Ford. That's it from us. Have a great weekend and we'll see you next Friday.